Welcome everyone. This is the Status Town Hall number 88. Today is 8th of August 2022. My name is Eduardo and I'm happy to be here sharing the updates with you. That's our agenda for today, and let's start talking about the Ambassador Program. We are very happy to announce that in July we had the all-time high in number of completed tasks by ambassadors in a single month. The number is 79. And given there were 82 completed tasks in Q1, that means that we got a lot more contributions from our passionate ambassador community in July. They created content introducing status, they moderated our community channels, they translated our blog posts, and also helped translating our application. They also hosted webinars and offline events, like the photos you can see on this slide. Currently, we have 23 active ambassadors from 14 different countries, and they completed at least one task over the past 3 months. Most of them are from Latin America, Africa, and Asia. And also, there are 5 brand ambassadors who got selected for their passionate contributions to Status, and now they represent Status in their region much more actively. They manage our local Twitter channels, providing localized content for Philippines, Brazil, India, and Nigeria. From Q1 to Q2, we received 53 ambassador applications from our official website, ambassador.status.im, and 2 of them became Status ambassadors by completing their first tasks on our weekend board. There were 129 completed tasks in Q2 in total, which means it's an increase by 57% compared to Q1. Also, on the translation side, our ambassadors and open source translators helped us translating almost 24,000 words. Most of the translations were done for the new Status desktop version, which was recently merged on the localized platform. The desktop team is now working on implementing the new translations provided by our community members. We are very happy with the passionate ambassador community we have. They play a very important role on our mission for bringing public goods to everyone. Next thing we will talk here, I'm inviting Juan David to talk about the second edition of the Fork the System Hackathon. Welcome, Juan David, and tell us everything about the hackathon.
Thank you, Eduardo. It's my pleasure to share some results of our second hackathon of the year, Fork the System. It was in the city of Medellin. So a basic results, we have 73 hackers accepted. We got a much better profile of people participating in this edition, since we were partnering with Ruta N, which is an innovation hub in the city of Medellin. We have 71 hackers that submitted their projects, so we improve in our acceptance, not only our acceptance rate, but also hackers finishing the hackathon successfully. 4 of them used Waku, and we are right now reviewing the code for the submission that they did. So in the next slide, there is a photo of the participants, so we have more people involved in here. Also, we activated the community in Medellin. We have been doing a great work in Bogota, where I'm based, and I want to show you all the audience video that we did of the nice experience that we have. So basically, this was a hackathon of 3 days, starting a Friday, finishing a Sunday. As you can see, it was like a more professional hackathon, and we're improving in our community activities, doing hackathons as a way to create awareness not only on the principles that Status has, but also interacting with the community. Frank is already reviewing the submitted projects, and we are getting the feedback of all the hackers on how to improve our docs. Each one of the participants downloaded our app, and they were receiving pop-ups during the event. They were explaining about Web3, and people were really excited about all the results that we got. They were happy at the end of that, and we hope to keep doing these technical activities so more people can understand that Status Network has infrastructure projects, and we'll keep fighting for privacy. Thank you.
Cool, nice shirts. What can you tell us about the developer community in Medellin?
It's not as big as the one in Bogota, but it's better structured. Medellin has this mixture of companies and the public sector interacting. So I was really surprised about the quality of the projects. So it was a great idea to partner with this type of innovation centers from the city of Medellin.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing this, Juan David.
My pleasure.
And now Jacob will give us the infrastructure updates. Over to you, Jacob.
Hey, people. In terms of the applications, we finally renamed Status React to Status Mobile because the old name just didn't make sense. Why would you name the project after one of the technologies used? We have multiple fixes for essentially the developer process, including a new flow for PRs that need rebase to avoid unnecessary churn between QA team and the developers. Also have an improvement for status go Nix builds to make them pure again, because we've had some non-deterministic behavior. And I'm thinking of actually moving the Nix expressions for building status go into the status go repository itself, so they can be reused in other repositories like a desktop or mobile. But that's a longer project. We have fixed multiple issues in Windows builds, including a weird problem with Windows not accepting long file names longer than 260 characters. Actually, the limit is applied to the whole path. And I don't know why the default is like that, but it actually requires a registry edit and also a git config edit to make that work. Really silly, if you ask me. We're getting closer to proper UI testing with Squish in Jenkins, mostly thanks to Anthony. I helped a bit. And there's a weird bug in our Jenkins GitHub plugin where sometimes builds get triggered for a branch when another branch is pushed. I'm still investigating that. I have no current fix for that. I just disabled some builds to not create too many. We have a new service that was implemented by Arthur, which is called SSHFP Updater, which generates DNS records for public keys of hosts for SSH to make verification of hosts easier and more secure. Unfortunately, Arthur is leaving Infra team, although I will be trying to persuade him to stay with us, maybe come back in a month or few, but we'll see. Can I get the next slide? Thank you. In terms of fleets, we passed the Sepolia merge event without any issues. We also added some Nimbus if1 nodes, and that worked quite well. I'm investigating weird input-output spikes for the product status go fleet. I actually don't know what's causing them, but I have tested newer versions of status go, and they appear to not be affected. So I'm in the process of actually rolling out upgrades to all its fleets. But we'll have to verify with mobile and desktop before that goes out. We had some issues with Nimbus CI builds being hard to debug, so the whole CI process was refactored, and now it's much easier to track different builds for different platforms since they have been separated. We also now have DNS discovery for Waku v2 test fleets. I actually don't know if the fleets.sales.im page has the ENR records. I will have to check that, but that should show up soon. And we also now have a native implementation with WebSockets, secure WebSockets in Go Waku, and we just enabled that. So that's going to be tested by most DJS Waku implementation in the coming weeks. We've moved the Elasticsearch cluster for collecting logs to Hetzner because of memory issues. So it's now not just cheaper, but also faster. And we've dropped ElasticHQ, which wasn't maintained, for monitoring the cluster with Elasticsearch Comrade, which is a much nicer UI for managing ES clusters. We also have a service that will be rolled out to the rest of the fleets called MTR Exporter. It's a very cool service which essentially collects metrics on the latency and dropped packets for an endpoint you give it. And this can be exported to Prometheus, and that gives pretty good metrics on the availability or quality of the network connection, which helps with debugging weird networking issues. It's going to be rolled out when we finally upgrade to Ubuntu 2020.04, but still blocked on that because of ThreadStack agent not supporting it. Will happen eventually. We also have a metrics dashboard for Go Waku. It's not big. There's not many metrics that Go Waku has, but I know Richard will be working on adding some useful metrics to improve debugging. So that's pretty cool. I've been fighting with Cortex cluster to fix some metrics dropping issues. Actually, still not sure what's happening, but at least I stabilized it, so metrics aren't dropping, but it's not fully resolved. Could I get the next slide? Thank you. I also have a new blog, a Ghost instance at blog.codex.storage. And we also have a page for meeting notes for Logos organization. And there's ongoing work on help.status.im. We're improving how it looks, and also, of course, the content is constantly expanding. In other news, the assemble.fund page has issues because of IPFS changes in API and also bootstrapping nodes. And currently, I don't think that's feasible to fix. It would require a lot of work. So unfortunately, assemble.fund is broken right now. And as far as I know, there is no priority to fix it. So unfortunate. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacob. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for staying with us and watching this. If you have any questions for the next Town Hall, please go on Status Town Hall questions on the Status app and on our community Discord and ask your questions, and we'll make sure to answer them. Thank you very much, and see you next time.